Have you ever wondered why some connections feel effortless, while others seem impossible to ignite? Why does one glance or one conversation linger in our minds for days, while others fade into nothing? Aristotle once said, "Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom." Emotional attachment is not magic. It is the mirror we hold up to ourselves reflected in the heart of another. Pause for 2 seconds. Ask yourself, are you truly aware of your own emotional depth? For until you understand your own heart, it is impossible to stir the heart of another. 1. Psychological insight. Emotional attachment is far more than a feeling. It is a complex web woven by our brain, shaped by biology, cognition, and subtle social cues. Neuroscience has uncovered some fascinating truths. When two people connect emotionally, the brain releases oxytocin, a chemical often referred to as the bonding hormone. Oxytocin doesn't merely create fleeting warmth, it strengthens trust, enhances empathy, and fosters a sense of safety. But the science only scratches the surface of a deeper human reality. The mind yearns not just for comfort, but for understanding. It craves validation, significance, and acknowledgement. At the core of attachment lies a simple yet profound truth. Every human wants to feel truly seen. Consider this. When someone listens to you with undivided attention, not merely hearing your words, but sensing your emotions, the world momentarily aligns in a way that is difficult to describe. A part of your brain releases dopamine, reinforcing the feeling that this interaction is rewarding. You feel noticed, and that feeling draws you closer, almost involuntarily. Psychologists call this phenomenon mirroring. When one person reflects another's emotions with accuracy and empathy, attachment is strengthened naturally. But the key is authenticity. False mirroring, or echoing someone without genuine understanding, triggers subtle cues in the brain, microexpressions, fleeting frowns, slight shifts in tone, that signal inauthenticity, breaking trust before it is built. Think about the last time someone made you feel deeply understood. How did it make you respond to them? Did you find yourself opening up more? Did you feel calmer, safer, or more willing to share the hidden corners of your mind? This reaction is not coincidental. It is the architecture of emotional attachment in action. Emotional attachment also thrives on the principle of emotional resonance. Every thought, every gesture, every nuance in voice or posture contributes to an unspoken dialogue between two minds. A simple gesture, a hand on a shoulder, a shared smile, or even a pause that acknowledges another's feelings, can trigger a cascade of neurochemical responses that make someone feel intrinsically connected to you. Attachment is not created through grand declarations or extravagant displays. It is born in the subtle interplay of awareness and response. Research in social psychology reveals that people are instinctively drawn to those who understand their inner world without imposing judgment. Carl Rogers, a pioneer in humanistic psychology, emphasized the power of empathy. When someone really hears you without passing judgment, without trying to take responsibility, without trying to mold you, it feels damn good. This is more than a comforting sentiment. It is a blueprint for creating attachment. When a woman feels genuinely understood, her mind associates your presence with safety and emotional nourishment. Over time, this builds a mental map linking her positive feelings to your presence, which strengthens emotional attachment organically. Now let's explore a subtle but crucial mechanism: active listening. Active listening is not passive, it is an art. It requires maintaining eye contact, nodding thoughtfully, and occasionally reflecting back the essence of what is communicated. This reflection does not mimic her words, it captures the emotion behind them. For instance, if she says, "I had such a stressful day at work," a reflective response might be, "It sounds like today really drained you and made you feel overwhelmed." Notice the difference? The focus is not on fixing the problem, but on validating the emotional truth of her experience. This validation triggers the release of oxytocin, strengthens trust, and encourages her to share more, deepening the attachment. How often do you truly listen to someone beyond just waiting for your turn to speak? When you pause to reflect another's emotions without judgment, what shifts in the connection occur? Can you recall the subtle energy change that happens when someone finally feels understood? Attachment is further intensified when you create a safe emotional environment. Safety does not mean avoiding conflict or discomfort. Rather, it means responding without aggression, criticism, or dismissal. In practice, this could mean resisting the urge to correct her immediately, and instead offering empathy. "I see why that upset you." This simple acknowledgement respects her experience and reinforces the neurological pathways that tie comfort and safety to your presence. Beyond individual interactions, attachment is shaped by consistency and predictability in behavior. Psychological studies show that people form stronger bonds with those whose responses are reliable and emotionally stable. A sudden shift in tone, mood, or interest creates uncertainty, which triggers stress responses in the amygdala, the part of the brain that governs fear. Conversely, stable, thoughtful engagement fosters a sense of emotional security, which is a cornerstone of attachment. Finally, consider the importance of subtle reinforcement over time. Emotional attachment is not built in a single encounter. It is the cumulative effect of repeated, meaningful interactions. Each time she feels understood, validated, and emotionally mirrored, her brain records a positive association with you. It is this layered psychological architecture, anchored in empathy, authenticity, and attentive listening, that transforms initial attraction into lasting emotional attachment. Are you cultivating moments where your presence consistently signals understanding and safety? Are you aware of the unspoken signals you send and the emotional impact they have on those around you? Emotional attachment, after all, is not a trick. It is the natural outcome of deep, empathetic human connection. 2. Philosophical and Stoic perspective. The Stoics, those timeless architects of the mind, believed that the roots of attachment lie not in external circumstances, but in the mastery of oneself. They taught that to influence others, to inspire connection, one must first cultivate inner fortitude. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." Notice carefully, he does not speak of controlling others, nor bending circumstances to one's will. He speaks of mastery over one's own perceptions, emotions, and reactions. It is this mastery that creates the magnetic calm others instinctively feel, and it is this calm that forms the foundation of emotional attachment. Consider the subtle power of presence. Imagine two individuals in a conversation. One is tense, reactive, seeking validation with every word. The other speaks softly, listens intently, and radiates composure. Which presence draws the other closer? The answer is almost always the latter. Stoicism teaches that attachment is less about what we do for others externally and more about the emotional climate we embody internally. A composed mind acts like gravity. People are pulled not by force, but by the silent, irresistible weight of stability. Do you radiate stability and presence, or do you seek validation externally? When the storms of life swirl around you, do others sense a quiet harbor in your demeanor, or do they feel turbulence reflected back from your own insecurities? Epictetus, another luminary of Stoic wisdom, urged, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." This simple principle holds immense power in the realm of attachment. Emotional bonds flourish when one partner feels that the other can withstand adversity, respond with calm, and navigate conflict without losing composure. This is not to suggest emotional suppression. Rather, it is the cultivation of measured, intentional response. By mastering your internal landscape, you become a safe and appealing anchor in the emotional life of another. The Stoics also emphasize independence of purpose. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little but the man who craves more that is poor." When your fulfillment is tied entirely to someone else's approval or affection, your mind becomes a pendulum, swinging with every external cue. Emotional attachment that arises from neediness is shallow, unstable, and fleeting. But when you cultivate a life rich with your own passions, curiosities, and purpose, you become inherently magnetic. Others are drawn to authenticity, to the quiet confidence of someone who needs nothing externally to feel whole. Focus on yourself first. Explore hobbies that ignite your curiosity. Dedicate time to physical, intellectual, and creative pursuits. Deepen your understanding of philosophy, literature, or any practice that expands your mind. By doing so, you demonstrate self-sufficiency, an irresistible foundation for emotional attachment. Independence paradoxically invites closeness. When a person senses that your happiness is self-generated rather than contingent on them, attachment develops organically, free from pressure, fear, or manipulation. Stoicism also teaches us the power of observation without attachment to outcomes. Imagine offering kindness, wisdom, or attentive presence without expecting immediate reciprocation. By removing the weight of expectation, your actions gain purity. They become reflections of your character rather than tools of influence. When a woman experiences this unforced generosity, she perceives your calm as a rare quality, one that offers comfort without dependency. Attachment, in this sense, is a natural resonance, a byproduct of your internal harmony. When you interact with someone you care about, are your gestures born of neediness or authenticity? Does your presence provide space and calm, or does it demand constant reassurance? Finally, consider the role of patience in emotional growth. Stoics remind us that true connection, like virtue, develops gradually. Emotional attachment cannot be forced, hurried, or coerced. It is cultivated over time, in moments of trust, understanding, and consistent self-mastery. Your composure, independence, and depth become the unseen architecture upon which meaningful attachment is built. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Every challenge you face in maintaining equanimity is, in fact, a step toward becoming the kind of person whose presence naturally fosters deep emotional connection. In essence, the Stoic perspective invites a radical shift in focus. Instead of asking, "How can I make her attached to me?" we ask, "How can I become a person whose presence is inherently magnetic, stable, and resonant?" Attachment, then, is no longer a pursuit. It is a reflection of your internal mastery, your ability to remain calm in chaos, and your commitment to cultivating a life of purpose, curiosity, and integrity. 3. Storytelling and relatable perspective. Imagine this: you are sitting across from her in a quiet cafe. The room hums softly with conversation, the sunlight falling just right across her face. She laughs at a small joke only you would notice, a detail so minor it could have been ignored, yet you remembered it. That laughter isn't just a sound, it's a signal, a ripple that passes from her heart to yours, a bridge that begins to form an invisible connection. These moments, seemingly insignificant, carry profound weight. Every shared laugh, every understanding glance, every tiny acknowledgement of her uniqueness builds threads of attachment that are stronger than any grand gesture. Now, picture another scene. She's overwhelmed, on the verge of tears, speaking about something that has unsettled her all week. Your instinct may be to offer solutions to fix what seems broken, but instead, you pause. You listen. You reflect her feelings not as a strategy but as a genuine response. "I hear you," you say. "I understand why this hurts." That simple acknowledgement resonates deeper than any advice could. Maya Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said, forget what you did, but never forget how you made them feel." In this instance, the emotional imprint you leave is what endures. You have become, in that moment, a sanctuary, a place where she feels safe, seen, and valued. How do you want her to feel when she thinks of you? Will she remember a laugh, a shared secret, or the gentle care you offered when no one else noticed? Attachment at its core is experiential. It is not created through words alone, nor through overt displays of affection. It is formed in the quiet, ordinary interactions that carry emotional resonance. Imagine walking together through a park at dusk, the world fading into golden light. You share a memory and she laughs softly. Later, she recalls that laughter not because of the story itself, but because she felt connected, truly connected in your presence. Each subtle action, whether a compliment on her insight, a note of gratitude, or remembering a detail she mentioned weeks ago, becomes a thread in the tapestry of attachment. Think about the way humans bond naturally, through shared experience, empathy, and attention. Neuropsychology shows that emotional memories are far stronger than neutral ones. When she associates you with feeling understood, joyful, or safe, her brain reinforces those associations with dopamine and oxytocin. Emotional attachment is not manufactured. It is cultivated through repeated experiences that elicit positive emotional states. Every smile, every moment of laughter, every act of genuine attentiveness builds this invisible web of connection. Consider the power of storytelling within these interactions. Share a personal anecdote, a challenge you overcame, a small vulnerability you experienced. Vulnerability, when expressed appropriately, fosters trust. When you reveal pieces of your authentic self, she senses your humanity, your depth, and the courage to be seen. Humans are wired to connect through narrative. A story shared in intimacy creates emotional resonance far beyond any factual exchange. In turn, her attachment grows, not through manipulation but through authentic experience. Even the smallest gestures can carry extraordinary impact. A hand lightly placed on her arm during a moment of stress, a gentle compliment acknowledging her effort, a note left unexpectedly to say, "I appreciate you." These micro-interactions create patterns of emotional reinforcement. Think of attachment like building a mosaic. Each small, meaningful action is a tile contributing to a larger, lasting image of connection and trust. Over time, these tiles form a structure that feels organic, inevitable, and deeply personal. Are your daily interactions creating moments she will remember emotionally, or are they passing unnoticed? How intentional are you in crafting experiences that touch her heart, rather than simply existing alongside her. Attachment thrives in moments where emotion is prioritized over logic. It is not about grand gestures or material displays, but about presence, attention, and resonance. Be the calm in her storm, the laughter in her day, the mirror reflecting her worth. Notice when she is happy, acknowledge when she is stressed, and respond in ways that signal you see her in her entirety. Each interaction reinforces the emotional pattern. You are someone who contributes meaningfully to her inner world. Finally, consider this. Emotional attachment grows most powerfully when moments feel natural, spontaneous, and unforced. The human mind is adept at sensing contrivance. Overly calculated gestures may elicit short-term attention, but only authentic, emotionally resonant actions create long-lasting connection. Attachment is cultivated through empathy, presence, and genuine engagement. By creating moments that resonate deeply with her emotional experience, you become a lasting figure in her emotional landscape, not through control but through shared humanity. 4. Practical and modern approach. In our fast-paced digital world, emotional attachment doesn't solely emerge from grand declarations or classical romance. It grows from consistency, subtlety, and attentiveness in everyday life. Think about the way people interact today. Text, social media, quick encounters, shared coffees, and small gestures that pass almost unnoticed. These moments, when handled thoughtfully, accumulate into a powerful emotional resonance. It is the consistent attention to detail, the small acknowledgments, and the responsiveness that signal a deeper level of care and recognition. Consider the act of remembering details. Perhaps she mentioned a favorite coffee, a song she loves, or a concern at work. Sending a simple message later, "I remembered you mentioned your meeting today, how did it go?" is not trivial. This subtle acknowledgement conveys attentiveness, showing that her thoughts and experiences matter to you. In neuroscience, these small gestures trigger dopamine and oxytocin responses, reinforcing positive associations and creating a sense of emotional connection. In essence, attachment in modern life is built one thoughtful action at a time, layered carefully to form a consistent pattern of care. When was the last time you truly remembered the little things that mattered to someone? Did you acknowledge them in a way that resonated emotionally, or were they simply fleeting thoughts in your mind? Modern attachment also requires balance between presence and mystery. In a world where attention is constantly fragmented, notifications, meetings, and social obligations, being consistently present without becoming predictable or overwhelming is a delicate art. Overexposure can dilute emotional intensity. Underexposure can create detachment. The key is strategic authenticity. Show genuine interest and responsiveness, but allow moments of anticipation. Humans naturally crave the unknown in addition to reliability. The most magnetic connections in today's era are those where engagement is meaningful, but not mechanically constant. Consider another dimension, the role of gestures in modern attachment. Unlike the ancient or classical forms of bonding, today's gestures are often digital. Text, voice notes, memes, or curated images. Yet their psychological impact can be profound. A carefully timed message that shows you were thinking of her, a shared playlist that aligns with her tastes, or a note acknowledging a personal achievement can communicate care and attentiveness without requiring physical proximity. These modern gestures are a bridge between the digital landscape and the human need for emotional connection. They form micro-moments that, over time, create a macro pattern of attachment. Balance mystery with authenticity. Don't overwhelm with attention but never undercut your presence. Emotional attachment thrives when anticipation meets reliability. You want her to feel that your presence is a gift, not a demand, and that even small interactions carry thought, intention, and significance. Subtlety is your ally. A thoughtful comment, a gentle reminder, a shared laugh online, all reinforce your emotional impact. Attachment is further enhanced by adaptability. Modern life is dynamic and attention must be responsive, not rigid. Notice her mood, energy, and context. Some days she may respond more eagerly to messages, other days less. By matching your engagement to her emotional state, without overreacting or forcing interaction, you demonstrate emotional intelligence. Emotional attachment, especially in the modern era, is built on this subtle dance of responsiveness, where both parties feel understood and valued, even through small and intermittent interactions. How often do you adapt your approach to the realities of modern life, texting, social media, casual interactions, without losing authenticity? Are your gestures intentional or simply routine? Finally, remember that anticipation is a powerful tool. In the age of instant gratification, a little pause, a well-timed message, or a surprise gesture can have outsized emotional impact. People remember not just the act but the feeling it evokes. A spontaneous note of encouragement, a message referencing an inside joke, or a small act of thoughtfulness amidst the noise of daily life can create emotional echoes that last far longer than any immediate gratification. Emotional attachment, in the modern context, is crafted through a combination of thoughtful attention, subtle anticipation, and consistent, genuine engagement. In essence, modern attachment is an intricate pattern of micro-moments, each one deliberate, meaningful, and attentive to her inner world. Through consistency, thoughtful responsiveness, and the balance of presence and mystery, you create a magnetic, enduring connection. In a world of fleeting interactions, the ability to generate meaningful emotional resonance in subtle, modern ways sets the foundation for deep, lasting attachment. True emotional attachment is not about tricks or speed, it is about depth, presence, and authenticity. As Rumi said, let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. By understanding yourself, showing genuine care, and creating meaningful moments, attachment will grow naturally as if by invisible threads. Ask yourself, what kind of person does she feel truly connected to? And are you that person, not by pretending but by growing into your most authentic self?